Welcome, beautiful spicy ladies. Once a queen leaves the castle, she doesn't return to sweep the floors. They say everyone has a breaking point, but for a Sigma female, it's a vanishing point. The moment she walks away, she doesn't just leave. She disappears like a ghost with a master plan. No drama, no theatrics, just a door quietly closing forever. Here's a fact. Studies show that emotionally independent individuals are far less likely to rekindle past relationships. And guess what? The Sigma female isn't just independent. She's the blueprint for self-sufficiency. So why does it sting so much when she walks away? Because, unlike others, she doesn't play the maybe someday game. She doesn't dangle hope, doesn't look back, and certainly doesn't return out of guilt or nostalgia. Once she's done, she's done. And that, my friends, is what makes it hurt the most. But why? Why does she never return, no matter how much someone begs, pleads, or accidentally bumps into her at a coffee shop? Buckle up, because we're diving into 10 brutally honest, non-nonsense reasons why the Sigma female's exit is permanent and why it leaves an unforgettable mark. Number 1. She knows absence doesn't always make the heart grow fond. Most people assume that when someone leaves, the absence will make them realize what they lost. They believe that with enough time apart, emotions will soften, nostalgia will take over, and reconciliation will become inevitable. But a Sigma female doesn't function that way. For her, absence doesn't create longing. It creates clarity. The moment she steps away, she doesn't sit around reminiscing about the good times. She doesn't let loneliness trick her into thinking the past was better than it was. Instead, she starts seeing everything for what it really was, without emotional fog, without illusions, and without excuses. What happens in her absence? She recognizes the patterns, realizes how much effort she put in versus how much she received, and notices how much energy was wasted on things that should have been effortless. Once she connects the dots, the final piece of the puzzle clicks into place. Going back would be a step backward, not forward. Meanwhile, the person she left behind starts to feel the loss. They assume time would soften her resolve, but it does the opposite. Every day she's gone, she gets used to not needing them. Every day apart, she grows more into the version of herself that doesn't tolerate settling. And by the time they realize what they lost, she's already beyond the point of ever wanting it back. The harsh truth, her absence doesn't make her miss you. It makes her grateful she left. Because with enough distance, she sees the one thing that truly matters. She should have walked away sooner. And that realization is what ensures she never returns. Number 2, she knows people rarely change. Only their tactics do. A Sigma female doesn't fall for well-rehearsed apologies or grand gestures meant to win her back. She understands human nature too well. When someone claims they've changed, she doesn't just listen to their words. She watches their patterns. Experience has taught her that most people don't actually change. They just modify their tactics to regain what they lost. At first, they'll say all the right things, suddenly acknowledge their mistakes, and swear that this time is different. But a Sigma female knows that real change isn't about words. It's about deep, consistent transformation. In her experience, people don't usually change because they've had an epiphany. They change just enough to get comfortable again. That's why she doesn't fall for temporary improvements. She knows that when someone loses something valuable, their instinct is to fix what's broken just long enough to get it back. But the moment they feel secure again, their old habits start creeping in. The same disrespect, the same inconsistencies, the same toxic cycles, but disguised under a fresh coat of effort. She refuses to play that game. She's not interested in people who only change when they have something to lose. True growth is independent of circumstances. And if someone couldn't treat her right before, she won't give them the chance to prove they can treat her wrong again. So when someone says, "I've changed," she doesn't argue or fight to prove a point. She just responds with the one thing that proves she's changed too. She walks away and never looks back. Number 3, she doesn't need closure, she creates it. A Sigma female doesn't waste time waiting for apologies that may never come, explanations that won't change anything, or last conversations that only reopen old wounds. She doesn't beg for understanding or cling to the idea that someone else needs to give her permission to heal. She is her own closure. She knows that seeking closure from another person is often just an excuse to stay connected a little longer, to delay the inevitable. People say they need one last talk, but what they really want is hope. A reason to stay, a loophole that justifies reopening a door that should stay closed. A Sigma female doesn't entertain that illusion. When something is over, she decides it's over. She processes the pain, acknowledges what she learned, and moves forward on her terms at her pace. She doesn't need someone to confirm that they hurt her. She doesn't need a heartfelt confession to validate her feelings. The facts speak for themselves. And once she's seen the truth, she doesn't seek permission to walk away. Even if the other person is full of regret, even if they finally want to explain, even if they suddenly have all the words they couldn't say before. None of it matters. Because for her, her closure isn't about what they have to say. It's about what she chooses to accept. So while others wait for a conversation that may never happen, she simply closes the door, locks it, and throws away the key. And that's why she never returns, because she never left any loose ends behind. Number 4, begging and pleading is a turnoff. A Sigma female is drawn to strength, self-respect, and quiet confidence. The moment someone starts begging her to come back, she doesn't feel flattered. She feels repelled. Desperation doesn't make her reconsider. It makes her more certain than ever that she made the right decision. She left for a reason, and that reason was already serious enough for her to walk away without hesitation. If someone truly respected her, they wouldn't resort to emotional begging or guilt-tripping to pull her back in. They would reflect, grow, and move forward with dignity. But when someone pleads, bargains, or makes dramatic promises, all she sees is weakness masquerading as love. To her, confidence isn't about pretending not to care. It's about having the self-worth to accept her decision, no matter how painful it is. A strong person will acknowledge the loss, take responsibility, and work on themselves without needing an audience. But someone who immediately crumbles and starts grasping for her attention, that's not strength, that's dependency. And she doesn't do emotional crutches. The harder someone begs, the less attractive they become in her eyes. The more they try to convince her, the more they confirm what she already knew. They don't respect themselves enough to let go with grace. And if they don't respect themselves, how can they ever truly respect her? That's why there's no coming back once she sees someone's true character under pressure. She never unsees it. And if that character is built on insecurity, manipulation, or emotional neediness, she won't be guilted into staying, charmed by theatrics, or moved by desperation. She'll just leave and lose all interest in ever returning. Number 5, she's built for evolution, not repetition. A Sigma female moves forward always. She doesn't waste time circling back to what she's already outgrown. For her, returning isn't just a mistake, it's a step backward. And nothing is more suffocating than stagnation. She thrives on growth, transformation, and leveling up. Every experience, whether good or bad, shapes her into a stronger, wiser version of herself. So when she walks away from a situation, it's because she has already learned the lesson. Going back would mean undoing her own progress. And she refuses to let nostalgia or temporary emotions pull her into a cycle she has no interest in repeating. People often mistake her detachment for coldness, but it's really just clarity. She doesn't romanticize the past or rewrite history to make it seem better than it was. She sees it exactly as it is. And once she realizes that a situation, relationship, or person no longer aligns with her growth, she moves on without hesitation. The truth is, most people repeat mistakes because they're afraid of the unknown. They return to familiar dysfunction because it's comfortable. But a Sigma female is different. She's not afraid to burn bridges that no longer serve her. She's not scared of starting over, being alone, or stepping into uncertainty, because she knows that every step forward brings her closer to a life that matches her highest potential. So no, she won't come back. She won't entertain old cycles disguised as second chances. She won't betray her own evolution just to make someone else comfortable. Because for her, growth isn't optional, it's her way of life. And anything that doesn't support that, she leaves behind for good. Number 6, she values her peace more than your apologies. A Sigma female isn't impressed by words, she's moved by actions. Apologies, no matter how heartfelt, mean nothing if they don't come with real, lasting change. But even beyond that, she understands something most people don't. Some things aren't worth the emotional price tag. Her peace isn't just a luxury, it's her foundation. It's what allows her to function at her highest level, to stay focused, to protect her energy. And if being around someone disrupts that peace, drains her, or constantly makes her question her own sanity, No amount of apologies will convince her to stay. She knows that most apologies aren't about true remorse. They're about guilt relief. People say sorry because they don't want to feel bad, not because they've actually changed. And she's not interested in being someone's forgiveness machine, where they mess up, apologize, and expect everything to go back to normal. For her, the equation is simple. If you disturb her peace, you lose access to her presence. She's not the type to stay in toxic cycles, hoping things will magically get better. The moment she realizes that someone brings more stress than joy, more chaos than stability, she detaches without hesitation. So yes, you can apologize, explain, and promise to do better. But if being with you means she has to sacrifice her emotional well-being, she'll walk away and never look back. Because at the end of the day, she would rather be alone and at peace than together and exhausted. And that's a choice she'll never regret. Number 7. She's not waiting for someone to get it right. A Sigma female doesn't invest in potential. She invests in what is. She doesn't waste time hoping that someone will magically evolve into the person they should have been all along. If they couldn't treat her right when she was present, she sees no reason to believe they'll suddenly figure it out after she's gone. She knows that people don't change just because they miss someone. They change because they want to, and real change takes time, effort, and self-awareness. She also knows that some people only improve when they realize they've lost something valuable. But for her, that's not enough. If someone has to lose her to appreciate her, then they never truly valued her in the first place. She refuses to play the waiting game where someone finally gets it right after they've drained her, disrespected her, or taken her for granted. She's not interested in being someone's lesson, their wake-up call, or their I'll do better next time realization. She gave them the chance when it actually mattered, and they failed. That's the end of it. While others sit around hoping for the what-ifs. What if they change? What if they finally understand? What if this time is different? She's already moved on. She doesn't waste time watching someone struggle to become the person they should have been all along. Because by the time they get it right, she's already somewhere better. And she's never looking back. Number 8. When she's gone, she's already won. When a Sigma female walks away, she doesn't leave empty-handed. By the time she's made the decision to cut ties, she has already won. And it's a victory that has nothing to do with the other person. It's about her self-respect, her inner peace, and the wisdom she gains from the experience. Most people think that walking away means losing something, whether it's love, companionship, or time. But for her, leaving is actually a gain. She doesn't need to stay and fight for something that no longer serves her. She doesn't need to plead for the other person's validation or approval. She has already recognized her worth, and she knows that leaving is the only way to preserve it. She doesn't see walking away as a loss. It's a strategic move. She leaves because staying would mean sacrificing something more valuable. Her peace of mind, her emotional energy, and her ability to grow. And every time she walks away, she learns more about herself. She gains clarity, strength, and the knowledge that she can navigate the world without relying on others to validate her existence. That's why she never needs to return. The moment she makes her decision to leave, she's already made peace with it. She's already gained the lesson that was meant to come from the relationship, and she's already leveled up. She has nothing to prove, no unfinished business, and no need for closure. So when she's gone, it's not just a physical absence, it's a statement. She's already won because she chose herself first. And with that kind of inner strength, there's no going back. Number 9. She doesn't do recycled energy. A Sigma female doesn't waste her time recycling what's already been spent. Once a relationship, friendship, or environment has drained her, she sees no point in revisiting it. She doesn't believe in giving second chances just for the sake of nostalgia or hope. To her, going back is like trying to revive something that's past its prime. It's not just futile, it's self-destructive. When she walks away, it's because she's already recognized that the situation isn't serving her growth. She doesn't believe in the idea of fixing what's broken or giving people multiple chances to correct the mistakes that have already hurt her. She knows that revisiting old wounds doesn't heal them, it reopens them. And she refuses to put herself in a position where she has to endure pain and frustration all over again. She understands that energy is a precious commodity, and once she's given it, whether in relationships or friendships, she doesn't want to keep pouring into the same empty cups. She's a forward thinker, always focused on the present and the future, not stuck in the past. Why waste time trying to resurrect something that never worked the first time? Why go back to environments or people that drain her when there are so many healthier, more fulfilling experiences ahead? To her, recycling energy is a waste of her time. She doesn't do emotional reruns or walk down familiar paths that only lead to disappointment. Instead, she chooses new opportunities, new relationships, and new places that align with her evolving self. And that's why once she's gone, she's truly gone. No second chances, no looking back. Number 10. Emotional nostalgia is a trap, and she knows it. For most people, nostalgia is a seductive force that pulls them back into unhealthy relationships or environments. They look at the past through rose-colored glasses, remembering only the highs and forgetting the lows. But a Sigma female isn't fooled by nostalgia. She knows that memories are liars. They distort the truth, making things seem better than they really were. She's learned the hard way that nostalgia is a trap. It's easy to forget the arguments, the unmet needs, the emotional exhaustion when you're only remembering the good moments. But she knows that those perfect moments were fleeting, and the struggles were real. So when the past calls, she doesn't answer. She doesn't get swept up in the warm feelings of what could have been. A Sigma female understands that nostalgia has a way of convincing us that the pain was worth the pleasure. But it wasn't. The sweet memories can cloud the reality of why she left in the first place. She won't ignore the red flags or romanticize the past to fit some illusion of perfection. She knows that the past is gone, and trying to resurrect it only stops her from moving forward and growing. She recognizes that the mind has a tendency to exaggerate the good parts and minimize the bad, and she doesn't want to live in a fantasy. She refuses to let those fleeting moments of warmth make her ignore the bigger picture. In the end, she chooses truth over illusion. And the truth is, the past doesn't hold the answers. It only offers distractions from the future she's building. Emotional nostalgia might lure people back, but it only leaves her stuck. And she's not about to fall into that trap. In the end, a Sigma female walks away not because she's cold or heartless, but because she values herself too much to stay in a place where she's not growing, respected, or truly appreciated. She doesn't return to the past, no matter how seductive nostalgia may seem. Her decision is driven by a deep understanding that growth, peace, and self-respect come from moving forward, not circling back. She doesn't need closure, second chances, or recycled energy, because the moment she leaves, she's already one step ahead. She doesn't get swayed by apologies or empty promises. Her peace is non-negotiable, and she knows the only way to protect that peace is to leave behind what no longer serves her. She doesn't fall for potential or live in the hope that someone will change. She values action over words, and once someone has shown their true colors, that's enough. So when she walks away, it's not a loss, it's a victory. She's not waiting for someone else to get it right or hoping they'll finally understand. She's already moved on, with or without them, because a Sigma female doesn't chase validation or struggle for someone else's approval. She creates her own closure, designs her own path, and forges ahead into the future that aligns with her highest self. For her, the journey has always been about evolution, not repetition. She leaves because she's already won, and she knows that staying would be a step backward. Once she's gone, she's not coming back. Not because she's holding a grudge, but because she's learned what she needs to move forward, and nothing in the past can offer her anything more. Her peace, her growth, and her self-respect will always be worth more than anything anyone could ever offer her. And that's exactly why when she walks away, she never looks back. If you found value in this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you never miss an update. If this resonated with you, like the video to let us know and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. And hey, if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. Let's spread this empowering message far and wide. Remember, it's not just about the journey. It's about taking control and building the life you deserve. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, spicy ladies, for tuning in. See you in the next video. Bye and stay blessed.